we have? Ooh.
Small group tonight, 9.
Small group.
9.
Just 9, okay.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps because people are busy in preparing the North American PRIA meeting. Perhaps. Okay, so I have how many people?
9 of us, including you.
Okay. Okay, so we come to chapter 9, and chapter 9 is about Dharma protector. And in this chapter, the first Dharma protector that comes to our eyes is Empress Wu. Okay, in Tang. Okay, shouldn't say in Tang Dynasty because he created a dynasty of her own, and she is the only empress in Chinese history, and it is because of her that she is upholding Buddhism in the court and also in her reign of what we call the country. And so today we want to start it from this Dharma protector. Okay, let me see. I have trouble in doing next page in my, let me see how to do next page. Okay, I guess I will have to go to this. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so Empress Wu, she is the one who make Buddhism in China the primary religion. Before her, it was Taoism, which is the #1 religion. And ever since her reign, then she put bhikkhu and bhikkhunis, monks and nuns, before the Taoist priest. Okay. And then she protect the Dharma, meaning that she established a lot of Buddhist temples in the country. And it is said that because of her doing so, that the famous major Chinese 8 Buddhist schools can develop to its fullest. And she also support international Buddhism. In that session, it means that if Buddhist monks that coming from other country coming to China, and she would respect them and financially support them in doing their translation projects and preaching Dharma. And also she would pay her respect to the national master. And what we call national master is that in ancient China, a lot of the emperors that they would entitle certain great master as national master and invite them to the court and hosting preset ceremonies and hosting lecture series just to open to the royal families only. Okay, so that is regarded as a very high position among the Buddhist masters. Okay, and then she also promotes Buddhist sculpture. So you can see the left-hand side of the slides. It's in Henan. And this is the Buddha statue of Vairocana. And Vairocana is the rewarding body of the Buddha, meaning that because of the cultivation of the virtues, that the appearance of this Buddha is very perfect. And people say that it is carving in the image of the Empress Wu herself. So if you want to know how she looked like, and then you can look at this Buddha statue. Okay. So this is in the first section of the Master Xingyun's commentary on this chapter. She talks about, she mentioned about Empress Wu, and of course there are conversations between Empress Wu and Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch, in written words. They don't have chance to meet face to face because the sixth patriarch decline the invitation. And then we will discuss about that in later. And the second section is, it talks about the endless lamp. And the expression in Chinese, 无尽灯, is very popularly used in some of our Buddhist events or rituals. So you will see that in the Buddhist ritual, we hold, or event, we hold the candle light or LED light, and then we say prayers while the electricity bulbs light turning off, only the candle lights holding on our hands. And it is a symbol of wisdom, of brightness, radiance, symbol of Dharma, and symbol of the truth. And then why we say that it is the symbol of truth? Because it expels the darkness of ignorance. And it says that when you lit the candle light, it's symbolizing that we are lighting the lamp of prajna, wisdom, within our mind. And in doing so, probably I think you have seen that in the Foguangsan event, that one person will lit the candle light, and then it continue to lit to the one who's standing beside that person, and it goes on, and that symbolizing the lineage of the Dharma, okay, from one person to another person. And why we have this kind of ritual? It comes from the sixth patriarch. Before sixth patriarch Huineng, the lineage of the Chan Buddhism is that the patriarch, the former patriarch, will pass down the robe and the bowl to his successor. Okay? But it is after the sixth patriarch, he stopped doing so. Instead of that, he's saying that the passing down of the robe and bowl becomes the cause of argument, okay, of that people, they disagreeing about the robe and bowl being transmitted to certain people, for example, in his case. And ever since his discarding the handing down of robe and bowl, then his Dharma, okay, or his teaching becomes easily spreading all over the country. Why? Because it is not transmitting the lineage from one person to another person, one to one. Instead of that, because of his teaching of mind to mind transmission, that it enables him to spread the Dharma to more people, to more areas. And people say that it is because of not transmitting the rope and ball, that the Chinese meditation school can be spread to in a wider areas to more people. Okay, so this is in the second section talking about the endless lamp. Do you have any questions about this? Any comment? Yes.
I have to remember to unmute. And Venerable, could you explain how then that is done within Foguan Shan, the passing, the passing of the lineage?
Right.
Is there, you know, like the ceremony that it's not just like from the Venerable Master to one person,
Right.
and what that's like so people understand.
Right. For Venerable Master Xing Yun, I think is lineage number 47, and then is passing down to 48. And so the current abbot of Foguangshan, Venerable Master Xinbao, he received the robe and ball, the symbols from Master Xing Yun. But in the same generation, say we are all in the same generation for the more than 1,300 monastic disciples in Foguangshan. We and Master Xinbao, the current abbot, we are of the same generation. And among these same generation, this 1,300 monastic, Foguangshan monastic, Venerable Master Xing Yun also transmit the Dharma, okay, instead of robe and ball, to some of the selected monastic. Too bad I'm not one of them. I was at that time, I think I was still in my PhD studies, not yet having any substantial contribution to the monastery. Okay, but my Dharma brothers, they, I think about 100. Yeah, they one by one, in a ceremony, in a formal ceremony, becomes the, in Chinese, we call 法子. And if I literally translate that, that is the children of Dharma. Okay. Okay. And so they becomes authorized that in future, they can spread the Dharma, meaning that they are recognized by Foguangshan and by Venerable Master Xing Yun, that they are qualified to continue the Dharma. Okay, so in a way, that is also similar to the endless lamp, that you are not transmitting your Dharma to just one person, you can spread to more. And among the children of Dharma, in that about 100 people, they are not limited to Foguangshan monastic. They are also venerables from other Buddhist monastery, meaning that my master saying that for whoever who can continue his Dharma, it need not to be Foguangshan monastic. As long as you got the gist, the essence of his teaching, you know what his idea, what his goal is in spreading Buddha Dharma, then he will recognize you as the children of Dharma. Okay. Okay. So the lineage, I should use these slides to explain the robe and ball and the endless lamp. And so it is since sixth patriarch, Master Huineng, that he started to use the idea of transmitting of the Dharma through what we call the endless lamp. And then that lamp is a symbolic meaning in that is the wisdom, the Dharma, So he's transmitting the Dharma instead of transmitting just the material robe and bowl. Okay. So now next, in this section, it talks about what is the real, what is the true nature? Okay, in talking about this, Venerable Master Xing Yun says that according to the commentary of the faith in the Great Vehicle, I guess is from that book. It is divided into two kind of doors that we can get enlightenment. One is the door of suchness. One is the door of arising and ceasing. And in Chinese, it's 真如门 and 生灭门. So the door of arising and ceasing, that refers to we ordinary people. We are living in the phenomenon world that everything arise and then cease. Okay, and then so that is why we say that we live in an impermanent world. And because of everything is impermanent and our mind is attaching to the phenomenon world, so therefore we suffer because we cannot hold on to anything that is substantial, and that we become dissatisfied. That is the true meaning of dukkha, or suffering. But opposite to that, there is the door of suchness, where everything is neither arising nor ceasing. Okay? It just does come and does gone. Okay? But because we are used to the phenomenal world we live in, so therefore we suffer a lot. And I like the poem that it used in this poem. The poem reads, "The shadow of bamboo sweeps across, but the dust does not move." And the second sentence is, "Moonlight penetrates the cold lake, yet the water has no scar or no trace." Okay? It's very poetic metaphor used in these two lines. First of all is the shadow of bamboo. The second is the moonlight. Okay, and just imagine that how can the shadow of bamboo sweeps the floor? Okay, in its original poem, it is the shadow of bamboo sweeps the staircase. Okay, but the dust does not move. Of course, the dust does not move because it's just the shadow of the bamboo. And think about what is the symbolic meaning in that. If we are to relate the shadow of bamboo to what? To the phenomenal world, perhaps. Okay, and what does the dust refer to? Okay, it doesn't move. It is there. Okay, the outside object, the shadow of the bamboo, because the wind blows, it sweeps it looks like it's sweeping the floor, but the dust remains unmoved. Okay, and the moonlight shines upon the surface of the lake. Okay, but the water has no trace of anything. Okay, it's just the reflection of the moon in the sky. Okay, so this refers to how we interact with the world. If we, For example, if I relate the mind to the second line, the water, okay, and then the moonlight can be everything happens around me, okay, and then so the moonlight shines upon the water in my mind, okay, and then it would leave nothing in my mind. It's just my mind is just a reflection of the moonlight, okay. And so in a lot of Buddhist text, it talks about the idea of something moved, something unmoved, okay. And we are living in the mind that is always moving. Okay. But all the great high masters, they are telling us that is something unmoved, okay, and that is the door of suchness, okay. It would let things that's come and that's gone, okay, and then we are trying through cultivation to find that unmoved, okay, the door of suchness. And the Master Huineng and the students, their conversation, I remember one is asking what is regarded as the teaching of the outsider, right? In Chinese, it's 外道. Okay, and the Master Huineng says that the outsider talks about things arising and then stops. Okay, it is coming up and then it ceases to be. Okay, but he says that his teaching is originally there is no arising, and of course that there is no ceasing. Okay, it is unmoved, and this is very difficult for most of Buddhist students. What is that? Okay. What is not arising? But everything arises. But he used the term neither arising nor ceasing. You cannot describe that unmoved object or mind as something arising, but you cannot describe as something is ceasing. Okay? Just does come and does go. That's just like the water reflecting the moonlight. Okay. Anything so? Any question so far? Okay. Then the next section is talking about the pure mind. Now in the Platform Sutra, it keeps on talking about pure mind, 清净心. And what is the pure mind? It says that it is almost like talking about our self nature or intrinsic nature, or you may call it Buddha nature. Okay. And for Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch, he regards Buddhas and we ordinary people, all beings, as equals. And equal in which way? In that we all have that Buddha nature. We all have that potential to become a Buddha, right? And so the question is asked, so do you think that I can become a Buddha? Yes, I would say, yes, I can become a Buddha, but maybe not in this lifetime. He's saying that it is possible for every one of us to become a Buddha, but not everyone can become a Buddha in this lifetime, because that depends on how hard you try, right? You make efforts to cultivate yourself. And so Buddhas is regarded as awakened sentient beings, and sentient beings, they are unawakened Buddhas. So we are all unawakened Buddhas. You know, sometimes when in a conversation and if you regard yourself as unawakened Buddhas, that make you feel that you have that possibility, right? That it's a Buddha nature in us. And so that we, through cultivation, we can discover that something, what we call the pure mind, right? And so it gives us hope, very promising, that we don't have to going outside to look for a Buddhahood outside. It's right inside us. And I remember that there is a poem by an old monk who is in his 80s. And then he started the poem. He has an enlightenment poem. And he started his poem by saying that he's already 80 years old, but still, he is still wandering. He's still a wandering monk, okay, to find the truth. Okay? And then when he come back to his own house, and then he found that spring has already in the branches of the tree outside his house. Okay, it's already mature. Okay, literally, it translated spring has matured. And what does that mean? It means that he spent a lot of time in wandering through the mountains, rivers, oceans, and then try to travel to look for what he called enlightenment. But when he comes back, of course, not yet. He's not yet enlightened, but certainly when he comes to his own house, and then he has that enlightenment, that spring has already there, okay, in the trees, to see the sprouting of the new leaves of a tree in springtime. And then it just give him the ding that, the enlightenment is not outside where I travel to seek outside. It's inside. I need not to travel outside. Okay, just right in where I am, I can find the enlightenment. Just don't know whether you have that kind of enlightenment. Maybe Aina, you can tell us. Okay, now you just come back from your trip. When you arrive home, did you find spring or enlightenment? It's already waiting for you at home.
Yeah, I found hot. I think enlightenment must be the flames of hell. It's real hot down here. But what I was talking with Angelica today, and we were talking about the view of Buddhism that in some ways there's nothing to attain; it's already there. We just have to get out, remove the dust, as we often say, and in that we, even with our karma, we still know that there is that purity. And in Christianity, we are taught that we are born in sin. So one says we're pure, and we have to get rid of defilements. The other says we're sinful, but there's hope of becoming pure. It's just a different avenue, so that was our conversation this morning.
Good.
So I don't know if I'm enlightened or not. I'm just on the path, I guess.
In the progress. You see the slides that I chose, there are two bodhisattvas. And these two bodhisattvas, of course, they are done by the covers, and they look like human beings, somewhat human beings, somewhat divine. Okay. When the covers, when they do the statue, of course, they need a model. okay? And then so that they can carve that. And so it is from the ordinary human being that through the hands of the artist, and it becomes bodhisattva, okay? But the outlook is a human being. It's just like you and me, a normal, ordinary human being. And what makes the statue holy, okay? It's from the beholder's eye, okay? But it also is the reflection of the artist. And so if the holiness is from the beholder's eyes, then that means when I see the statue as being holy, pure, that means there is something there in my mind, okay, that connect the statue with what I think, how I feel, okay? And so why that is the practice in Buddhism of beholding, looking at the statue, the Buddha statue, okay? In some of the sutras, it tells people, you just look at the perfection, the beauty of the face of the Buddha. And that is also regarded as a kind of spiritual cultivation. In the past, as a novice, Buddhist novice, I couldn't understand that. I feel that only through study the sutras, the profound teaching, the doctrinal teaching, that can bring people to enlightenment. But in later years, then I started to see the practice, okay, that the ancient Buddhist masters, they tell us, oh, then just looking at the Buddha statue, why is that a spiritual cultivation? Right? It is through our respect to the image that we look at, okay? And then you arise in the mind, the holiness, the purity, okay, the virtue of that Buddha's cultivation, okay? And then we are connecting ourselves with that connection. So we have a communication with the image that we are looking at, okay? And it is no wonder that in some of the occasions at the temple in Xiangyun Temple, I saw some of the devotees that they are very sincere, very pious. They would prefer just going to worship in front of the Buddha statue quietly by themselves, okay? And then they would join their palms kneeling down and then looking at the Buddha statue. And that is, for me, when I'm standing beside them, I think that is very beautiful, touching moment. Okay, and then that you can see the words, the language. At that moment, it becomes useless. Okay, so you just let that kind of mind to mind, what I say, the ordinary people's mind and the Buddha mind, that their communication going on like that. So this is how I share my feeling with you for the section of the pure mind. Any comment on this? Okay. Okay. So in the book, it continues to talk about then how are we going to acquire a pure mind? And according to the text, it says, do not think of anything as wholesome or unwholesome. And we have come across this kind of phrase when the sixth patriarch, Master Huineng, was chased after by another monk, Huiming, okay, because that monk Huiming wants to get the rope and bow from Huineng. Okay, and so at the moment that the monk Huiming cannot get that, and then he sort of humble himself. Then it is Master Huineng asking him, okay, now tell me, when you do not think of anything as wholesome or unwholesome, what is the true face of Huiming you? Okay, do you remember that passage? Okay, so now a lot of people, they ask, how come you can have a moment not thinking of anything wholesome or unwholesome? Because in the world where we live, immediately I can tell you which is wholesome and which is unwholesome. It's just like that. I don't have to give a second thought, and then I can tell the difference. But in the Chan practice, he asks us, do not think of anything as wholesome or unwholesome. And some of my students here, and then they ask me, then I will become people of a foolish people, a foolish person, because in this society, people ask us to be able to differentiate what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. Okay. What do you think? The second thing, okay, let me continue. Do not give rise to a single thought. That's too much, right? How come that I can not give rise to a single thought? I always give rise to not only a single thought. I always give rise to a lot of thoughts. So,
I think
mm-hmm.
I think in this moment when you talk about this point, right? Just like in that second, when sixth patriarch asked Hui Ming at the time, he's asking when you or my is not in seventh consciousness, they call Maros, right? When you are not in that point at a time, you don't have a wholesome, unwholesome. You don't have a right or wrong, and it's close to empty mind. When the mind is empty at a time, you can see the moment your true heart, your truly mind, your Buddha nature. I think that is most close to that. So otherwise, every time when we take a 7 days retreat, no matter Amitabha retreat or Mahayana Zen retreat, we always say we have a 7 days retreat. You have to stop all this thinking and know different. 所谓的至心一处，无事不办。而且呢 in that second, in that moment, everything stopped as close as to the empty mind. At the time, mind, the Buddha nature appear.
Yeah.
And find it out who we are before we.
You're right. And then so in a way, you are saying the empty mind. Before we go to empty mind, I think we have to talk about the sixth consciousness, which always is differentiate, discriminate, which is which, okay? and so Master Huineng is saying that we do not allow our sixth consciousness function in that way. Okay, we just reflect, okay, what our sensory organ experience. Okay, we see a person and then we hear a sound, just let it come and let it go. Okay? But it's very difficult. So that's why it says, do not give rise to a single thought. And then that thought is from the sixth consciousness. Okay. Okay.
And then special, I remember when we joined the Amitabha retreat,
Yes.
we keep chanting Amitabha, 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 faster and faster. And then I figured out if you don't chant loud enough, fast enough, your stealing soul will come out, mingle with you chanting. When you really put your mind together and then chanting Amitabha and faster, and then that means Amitabha chanting instead of you stealing soul. All
Right.
you is in Amitabha stage.
Right.
And this time, the Wei-Non Shifu, the one take care of the bear, very important. He just suddenly hit on the wooden fish. Everybody stopped at a time. That was shock. That moment really empty mind because you put too much Amitabha on your mind, suddenly stop, and then before you stealing soul to come up, that was empty mind. After section by section, usually every day you have around the 9 section chanting, right? Every time you have to catch that moment, and you have a chance to see your Buddha nature and your Buddha mind. That was very, very, very short and very, very good.
Thank you. Thank you for the sharing. Yes. Okay. Now next, we will continue session number 5, talking about Huinen's patriotism, meaning that he loves the country, he loves his people. And in here, it mentions what in the ancient time in India, the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha himself, he also take care of his countrymen. And I think it's not only because that he's the enlightened person, but he also, as a human being, he also feel he's closely related to his Shakya clan. Okay, and then so when it happens that Prince Verodaka, Verodaka's army was going to destroy his countrymen, the Shakya clan, in Kapilavastu. And when Shakyamuni Buddha heard that, he felt that he has to protect his people. Okay? And then so he sat under the withered tree. Okay, and he's not sitting under the tree. He's sitting in the middle of the path. And then so Verodaka, seeing the Buddha sitting in the middle of the path, and so he asked, why you're sitting here? You should sit under the shade of the tree. But the Buddha says, the shade from my kinsman is better than any other shade. Okay, so meaning that he is very close to his kinsmen, and he wants to protect the lives of his people. And so from here, Venerable Master Xing continues to discuss about the Buddhism is just like the government. They both guide the people to protect the people, to want to see, to let the people have the lead a good life. Okay, and then the Master Huineng in his time, he tried his best to teach the people whoever went to him to seeking for Dharma, and then his teaching is wanting them to cultivate themselves, to observe the precepts, to concentrate their mind, to cultivate their wisdom. And this is in a way to help the country, to let the people walking on the right track of their life. Okay, So the Buddhist teachings, according to Venerable Master Xing Yun's comment, it says that it helps to purify the mind of others, to change the customs of the people, the way of doing things of the people, and then to offer moral strength and spiritual fortitude to society. So we Buddhists, we are contributing to the society in this way. So some people, they say that, oh, Buddhists are very passive. You just cultivate yourself, not caring about the society. It is very wrong. According to Venerable Master Xing Yun, it says that though, say for example, we are monastic, we renounce our household life, but that doesn't mean that we renounce the responsibility of helping the society to guide on the right direction. We still can help, can contribute to the harmony, to the well-being of our society. And this is, yes?
Oh, Venerable, what I was going to say about that, I was talking with someone today that, or yesterday it was, that Buddhist practice takes courage, because it's more than that passivity that a lot of people think about. It sometimes and the Venerable Master even talks about this, you have to be politically engaged in order to support people and help people get their needs met. We can't just sit back and pray. We have to get out there and work. And
yeah,
I think
we can get our opinion across to the officials, and to provide them from the Buddhist perspective, how we can help the harmony, the well-being of the world. Yeah. Okay, so according to the commentary, it lists 10 responsibilities to govern a country. And then you can see from the 10, I guess, we don't have time to run one by one. So let me just read. Number 1, see the world with the wisdom eye, right? And then support the country with merit and wisdom, okay? So when people come to the temple, and then we tell them that you can accumulate merit, you can learn, study Buddhism, the teaching. This is a way to help, okay, the society, the country, and then allow the people to live in peace and be joyful, so that the country may flourish and the people may live at ease and overcome anger, so as to prevent disasters. You know, currently in Taiwan, where I come from, now there's fighting with the COVID. Now the situation becomes serious day by day. And people, of course, because of cannot get the vaccination, so there are angry voices in the society. And I try my best to tell my family in Taiwan, I said that this is how we have come across in the States. And then, so what you can do during the COVID, when the city is locked down, then this is a good time for us to meditate, to do things at home, and not to think too much about what I cannot do. Think more about what we can do, right? And so Buddhism, the Dharma, the teaching, really is very helpful at this special time period. And number 5 is protect the people from difficulties, so that they can be fearless, right? And appoint capable sages and advisors to serve the country and participate in the nation's affairs, allow the people to live peacefully and manage the country with the Dharma, shoulder the collective wholesome and unwholesome karma of the country. So that's why in the temple, we, through the Sunday, the weekend Dharma services, we transfer the merit for that. And number 10, be a leader for the people. So these are the things that we can do, the Buddhists can help the society, the country. Number 6 is talking about why Master Huineng declined the invitation from Emperor Wu, because the Empress Wu invited him to go to the palace to receive her offering and inviting him to teach at the court, but he declined. And the reason, according to Venerable Master Xing Yun, the first reason, maybe because it's difficult for 2 great masters in one place. It's because at that time in the palace already there's another national master there, okay? And then different great masters, they must have different kind of guidelines, teachings for the followers. And then he just didn't want to cause any conflict of practices there. And I think he's very smart. Second, he wants to get away from wealth and fame. And you know that in the court, a lot of offering will be there, and that will be quite an distraction for a Buddhist master who is focusing more on the cultivation of the mind. Okay, and not to mention that he comes from the countryside, and then he's more used to be more close to the common people instead of getting along with the high ranks. Number 3 is because he comes from the south, he is not height not tall in his height, and then he's humble, I guess. He's saying that he's ugly, but I don't think he's ugly. So that I put a picture here. For a great master, you know, when you are very well cultivated, the beauty of your face is not just from the skin deep appearances, it's from the mind. And so I don't think this is a good reason, but he says that he calmly stayed in one spot in the south instead of going to the north. And but still, even though he declined the invitation, but he was still highly respected by the society, by the community. Okay, so these are the content of Venerable Master Xing Yun's comments on chapter 9. This is close to the end of the book, but the more we read about the Platform Sutra and Venerable Master Xing Yun's comments on this, the more, don't you think that the more we feel that Chan Buddhism, or just Chan, is very close to our daily life, and then the time and space, actually, it doesn't matter because it talks about our mind. Right? It's what's inside each one of us. And what Master Huineng or Venerable Master Xing Yun talks about the mind, it it would go beyond the limit of space, the limit of time. And what I'm thinking now is that while we are in the States and then reading about a book that's written 1,000 years ago in Chinese, and now it's in English. But the essence of that teaching, talking about the nature of our mind, our Buddha nature, our intrinsic nature, I think it's still so true and so closely related to our daily life. Don't you think so?
Yes, especially when Sixth Patriarch Huineng, he was enlightened at the time. I think everything he taught, he preached, is the true things what we need to learn, because we are not in that stage. When something come out is truth at the time, they don't change, not by the time, not by the position, place. So I think they can stand until these days. That's what we really learn. And also for the Zen meditation, before we talk about the Amitabha retreat, right? In Zen meditation, we have walking meditation, running meditation, the same thing. When we run very fast at a time, and then the master hold the wooden sword or the bamboo sword, hit on the ground so loud, suddenly everybody stopped at a time. That's an empty time.
That's another surprise shock.
Yes, that kind of emptiness, the same like Amitabha chanting, suddenly you stop. That kind of emptiness. I think if people you wanna catch that one, you can see your Buddha nature. You can see what you was born before this life. So I really touched by this retreat, by all these Sangha, how they control so well and to let us practice well. And then special, I think Jeji Fazi this time give us a guiding and teaching for Sixth Patriarch, the Platform Sutra, because I used to study Chinese and English more than 10 years ago. At the time, I was very curious to study, to learn. But this time, when we step by step to review, chapter by chapter, that was really touching. You don't know how I feel every class.
Thank you.
That was really gorgeous and great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your sharing. How about the other students? How about the others? Any other would like to share?
I can share a little bit just based on this kind of last slide about declining the invitation. I guess when I first read it, it was more, oh, that's interesting that the great master declined an invitation from, like an empress. So I appreciate reading the commentary to realize or recognize that there's more to it than just a decline. It's not like sometimes you would think of it as a little rude when someone's wanting to learn from you, so they're inviting you to have an audience, but then realizing that there's other reason not to go, that it might like create that karma for other people if they start criticizing this master, because there's another great master that they may already be learning from. So it's interesting to like help me think about when someone rejects something, it may not be just like rejecting, there may be more to it, and to think about that in our everyday lives.
Right, thank you. May I know who are you?
Oh, I'm Eva.
Eva, okay, thank you, Eva.
Hello.
Okay, any other thoughts so far? Yes?
At the time, there were many people who would curry favor with the empress, and I'm sure that Wei Ning did not want to be seen as one of those, and that he was happier to just do his service and teach the Dharma and calmly remain where he stayed.
Right. I think some of the people that their personality that they want to stay away from the high ranks. They don't want to do socials with others. But on the other hand, my master, Venerable Master Xing Yun says that it is also important to have some monastics that they have to deal with the officials, the people, because they are equally important, okay, to study, to learn Buddhism. So we shouldn't saying that which kinds of people that they have more cultivation. I remember when I studied Indian Buddhism, my teacher, he divided the monks into two categories. One is a city monk and one is forest monk. And so the forest monk, they want to continue to maintain the tradition from Shakyamuni Buddha's time. But the city monk, they, because as time goes by, the small village develops into cities and people doing more trading business instead of doing agriculture. And so the time has changed and the way of learning Buddhism, practicing Buddhism has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the city monk later, they evolved into Mahayana Buddhist. Okay, yeah. It's a Mahayana Buddhist movement. And then so it made me think about, how about nowadays? Now we, of course, now I become city monks. But during the COVID, because of the lockdown in the past 1 year, then I became a residential monk here in this temple. I don't travel as often as before. Okay, and so this kind of now I have to teach Buddha Dharma through internet, through Zoom meetings, and this is so different from the traditional city monk, right? They have to social with people in person, traveling, right? And so this is I think this is another phase of Buddhism, going from forest monk to city monk, now to IT monk.
or a global monk, because global you can reach monk. Everybody all over the world.
You're right. So time has changed, and so our way of spreading Dharma, Buddha Dharma, and practicing Buddha Dharma should change. Now, I cannot give you a shock by hitting a wooden fish, striking the wooden fish, or hitting with a wooden piece when you're doing sitting meditation, okay? But in a Zoom meeting, in a virtual meditation class, how am I going to wake you up if you fall asleep? You can mute yourself, right? You can stop the camera so that I cannot see you fall asleep. So how am I going to guide my students? So this is a big challenge, and that we all have to face that kind of age coming to us, right? Yes. Even after the COVID.
We have to develop new skillful means.
Right. Okay. So I guess this is what we have today, and next week will be our last class. And that will be about what? The final instructions. Okay. And what are the final instructions? We always want to see, what is the Buddha's final instruction? And here from Venerable Master Huineng, we also eager to learn what is his final instructions to us. So I hope you don't forget to come to the class next week. Okay. At the beginning of the class, just 9, including me, that made me heartbroken. So please remember to come to the class on time. Okay. I'll see.
And we really appreciate your teaching.
Thank you. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah. You all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.